Okay, what you are doing today is graphing linear equations using a table of values. So the first thing that you want to make sure you do every time is make a table of values with x and y at the top, and then you're going to have x values of -2, 0, 2. You're going to make this table for every time on every problem for your homework. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find out what does x equal, or what does y equal, when x is each one of these things right here. So we're going to plug in this -2 in for the x in our equation and then solve for y. So the first one looks like this. Y equals -2, that's this -2. And then instead of x, we're going to say times this -2. So times -2 and then plus 3. So what we end up with is we're going to do this multiplication. Y equals -2 times -2 is +4, and then 4 plus 3 is 7. So we end up with y equals 7, and we put that right here next to the -2. So when x is -2 in this equation right here, then the y is 7. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do that with each of our values here for y. Or for x, so we have to do it now with 0, and then we'll do it again with the 2. So the second time it looks like this. Y equals -2, and instead of times -2 this time, we're going to say times 0, which is our second point. Gosh, being difficult. Plus 3, like this. And now -2 times 0 is just 0 plus 3. And that, of course, is just 3. So we take that, and we're going to put it right here next to the 0. Okay, then we're going to take it and make the x a 2 this time for this last one. And I need to erase some of this. I'm going to erase this one up here. There we go. And so now I'm going to plug in 2 for my x. So it's going to look like this. Y equals -2 times 2 this time, plus 3. And -2 times 2 is -4. And -4 plus 3 is -1. So that means y equals -1. So I'll put that right here next to the 2 when x is 2. So once you've done your table, and I'm going to be grading this table, I'm going to be looking at your y values right there. So when I'm grading this, I'm going to grade for that point, and that point. So that's 3 points just from the table. And then I will grade your graph to make sure that you graphed it correctly. So I'm going to go to the next page with the graph on it, and I'll write these down. So we had -2, 7, 0, 3, and 2, what was it, -1? Yeah, -1. So these are my x and y. So what I've done is now what we have is we have ordered pairs that we can put on our graph. So it looks like this. So if you think about it being -2, 7, 0, 3, and 2, -1 as an ordered pair, then we can put them on our graph. So, and I see that my graph paper is too big, so I'm going to switch it to the medium one. And now my graph lines are messed up. Let me redo this right here. Alright, hang on. Okay, so draw my line nice and straight. So you're going to draw a coordinate plane on your graph paper right on the lines like that. Okay, so now I can go -2, 7. Okay, so my first one, -2, 7, I go to the left 2 and then up 7. So this is left 2 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's right. Right there. And then I'll graph that point. So I'm going to erase this mess right here. Okay, then the next one I'm going to do is 0, 3. And remember, this point right here is always on the y-axis because the first 0 means I don't go left or right at all. I just go up 3. So 1, 2, 3 right here. And then 2, -1 means I'm going to go to the right 2, 1, 2. And then -1 means down 1. So that's right here. And now once you do that, you are now able to draw a line through your dots and then draw arrows on either end to make it a line. So remember that the key is if you've got your points plotted and you try to draw a line, it doesn't make a line, but it makes something like a V, something like that. This is wrong. Remember that it has to make one straight line or it's a mistake. If it makes 2 and it bends, then you know you've done something wrong with one of your points. So that's a good way to check yourself to make sure that you've done them right. Alright, so again, I'm going to be grading your y values that you get, and didn't realize it was still an eraser, your y values on your table, and then the graph. So it's 4 points a problem. Alright, so let's do another one. So this time I didn't fill in the table. So the first thing that we want to do is draw our table and fill in the information. So it looks like this. And I have -2, 0, and 2. You're going to use those three values every time. So your table will look like this at the beginning every single time. And so now I'm going to plug in -2 for x, and then 0 for x, and then 2 for x to find out what each of my y's is. So y equals 2 times -2 minus 1. That's my first one. And 2 times -2 is -4, and -4 minus 1. If you remember to keep change, it would look like this. So that's -5. So when x is -2, y is -5. Now for my second one, I'm going to plug in 0 this time instead of the -2, and I get y equals 2 times 0 minus 1. And 2 times 0 is just 0, so 0 minus 1 is -1. So that's right here. And then my last one, I have y equals 2 times 2 minus 1. And 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So when x is 2, y is 3. So this is my table, and again, I'm grading these 3 points that you get for y right here, that side. But then you need to go and you need to put it on a graph, so we're going to graph these 3 ordered pairs on a coordinate plane. So -2, -5, 0, -1, and then 2, 3. So these are my x, y values, and you don't need to draw these on your graph. I'm just doing it since I'm on a new page. Alright, so -2, -5 means I go left 2 and then down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. And I can't draw a dot very well. And then 0, -1. Remember, this point is always on your y-axis, the 0 one. So we go down 1 right there. And then 2, 3 would be to the right 2, and then up 3. Like that. Okay? And then now we can draw a line that goes through all of them. And it looks like that. So you don't write all these little things. I just do that since you can't see me moving my finger along. I'm just showing you how to do it. Alright, now, so again, if you make a mistake, say you accidentally put that -1 on the x-axis instead of the y-axis, you would have had this point down here, this point up here, and then something right there, and you would have seen that that does not make a straight line. If you were to try to connect those, it would look like that, and that's wrong. And that's how you would know it's wrong, because it does not make one straight line. So, one more example. And this one has a fraction in it, but fractions are okay. You're not going to have any that don't work out to whole numbers, or integers anyway. Alright, so I'm going to draw my table. And here again, I'm going to use those same values for x, -2, 0, 2. And then I'm going to plug that in for my x value one at a time. So y equals -1/2 times, and it's -2 the first time, so -2. I'm going to put that over 1 since I'm multiplying by a fraction, and then plus 3. Alright, so what needs to happen here is I'm going to cancel out my 2 here and my 2 here. Those both become 1s. And then all of that, so that's just 1 times 1 on top, 1 times 1 on bottom, which is 1. And then you check your signs. I have a negative here and a negative here, and multiplying a negative times a negative makes a positive. So all of that becomes +1. And then plus 3 is 4. So y equals 4 when x is -2. Alright, now I'm going to plug in my 0. So y equals -1/2 times 0 plus 3. Now, it doesn't matter that it's a fraction. Anything times 0 is just 0, so basically all this just goes away and becomes 0 plus 3. So y equals 3 when x is 0. Okay, and then I need to erase because I'm running out of room. So I'm going to erase all this. Alright, so let's do the last one. So now we want to do 2 in for x, so we're going to say y equals -1/2 times 2 over 1 plus 3. So now I'm going to cancel my 2's here. And those are both 1's. And this time I only have one negative and a positive, so this is negative 1 this time. And then negative 1 plus 3 is this time it's 2. Y equals 2. Okay, so then we go to graph those. Put this on the next page. So negative 2, 4, 0, 3, 2, 2. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, whoops. So it looks like this. So negative 2, 4 means to the left 2 and then up 4. 2, 3, 4. So this is our first point. 0, 3 is just straight up 3. There, and then 2, 2 to the right 2 and up 2. So it looks like that. And so this one goes this way. So it looks like that. And that's it. Hopefully that's helpful, and you will be able to get all your homework done, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.